Well, hello there. Boy, it's been a while, so I'm going to be a little rusty. My name is Amy. You have stumbled on my crafting channel, Mimi Stitchery. I started out as a floss tuber with only cross stitch, and if you could see the mounds in front of me, you'd understand why I'm now referring to it to a crafting channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm glad you found me. If you're one of those people that has been following along the whole time, God love you. I'm a little crazy pants sometimes, but it's all right, right? I meant to look before I got on here to see exactly how long I've been doing YouTube videos now, because it has been a while since my last one. I think the last video that I posted was actually my whip parade, and I believe it posted either on Christmas Day or the day after. So if you've missed that, because that was the only time I had to do that, you can go back and look at that. I went through all my cross-stitch whips and my knitting whips at the time. Things have changed a little bit in that regard. Not my cross-stitch whips, but my knitting whips, and we'll get to that. Yeah, and I'm going to try not to say a million times like I seem to always do. We are down in my craft area / workout area. You can see my treadmill back there. Hubby and I have been trying. I've been trying to get up at 4:30. Getting up at 4:30 in the morning is not my problem. It's getting motivated to come down the treadmill at that time of day. Trying to get better at that. And I have some unexpected time today, so I thought, I just knocked the whole computer. Sorry for the shaky. I thought I'd sit down and record. That being said, it's a long one. I have notes. It's a long one. Grab something to stitch, knit, snack, coffee, water, something to drink, depending on what time you're watching this. Today is February 14th. It is a Friday, and it's just shy of 10 o'clock in the morning. Drinking out of my Ralph cup. Thank you, Erin. Yeah, there's a lot. I'm going to try not to speed my way through. I'm going to do this in some sort of order. I'm actually going to talk about my cross stitch first. I have no finishes in that arena. Then I'm going to do knitting and just a tad of sewing, not much. And then I bought this calendar. I showed this on a previous video. I bought the Cross Stitchers Planner 2025. This is from My Crazy Life on Etsy, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, it looks like. And I've just been kind of writing down what I'm working on each day, and I have my January stats in here, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the end. But right now, let's talk about cross stitch. So the first thing I want to talk about is my Sunday morning stitch crew. For those of you that don't know, I have a Sunday morning stitch crew. It consists of Kim from Stitch and Stuff, Tina from Tina Stitches, and Gail from Gail's Golden Needle. If you're not watching any of their floss tubes, you should. I don't think Kim's recorded in a while. However, she has a really good library of videos to watch. If you're not watching them, you should. But we get together early morning every Sunday morning, or most Sunday mornings, to stitch together. And we decided that this year we were going to play a Monopoly game. And I forget who coined this game first. If I'll remember, I'll put it in here for the editing process, but I really don't remember who did it first. I know I've seen Alara doing some crazy version of it. God love you, girl. I don't know if I could keep track of all that. But I enjoy watching her for sure. And but it originated somewhere else. And maybe the Caffeinated Crafter? Is that what I'm thinking of? You're probably all yelling at me on the screen right now. But anyway, we decided to play our own version of that Monopoly. So we took the Monopoly board and I assigned projects to the colors, basically. So we've been playing, and that's been dictating some of my stitching. Community Chance and Chance and Community Chest Tina has a stack of, I believe they're Black Needle Society cards, so when you land there, that kind of dictates that. And then we have rules about when you land on a property somebody else already has stitched their goal and owns. It's not too overly complicated, and it is directing stitching a little bit. So what you see is a lot of it is a direct reflection of what we've been working on. Hold on. I'm going to pause for a sec. Hey, and I'm back. I just remembered that I forgot a couple things to bring over. A couple things. I was going to film, see that messy cutting table right there? I was going to film right there, but the lighting was way too bright and it was washing everything out, so I decided to move. I never thought there was such a thing as too much light, but I am finding when you record videos there is such a thing. So anyway, I started talking cross stitch, knitting, sewing. I have January stats. I have lots of, well, not lots for me, some finished objects for knitting. I have a little bit of haul in the knitting arena, and we'll talk about that because I've been tracking grams in and grams out, which in January did really well. February not as well, but I had a knitting project that I needed to order yarn for, so that's that. And we'll talk about that. But I guess without further ado, let's get going on the cross stitch. Have I forgotten anything? So the first one I'm going to show you is Strawberry Fields Forever. This is from Blackbird Design. I am stitching this with Stash Dive threads. And I forget what I'm stitching it on. Hold on, maybe I wrote it down in here. Dusty Cottage by Bee Stitch Me. It is an 18 count Aida. And again, doing it with Stash Dive threads. And there's fabric sewn on this because I had this in a Q-snap. Let's make it less distracting. And that's where I am. This is a nice, easy stitch for when I'm tired. And so I tend to go to my Aida projects when I'm tired. But there you go. I'm going to put these away to a degree because I need to be able to clean up some of this mess I have down here. Hence why we're recording a video today. The next project I have here to show you is my Lady of the Flag. This pattern was gifted to me by Ashley, a new friend I made at Stitch North. She is Stitchin' Shorty on Instagram, and we started this together. I was originally doing the Statue of Liberty conversion. I'm stitching it on the called for thread. I have since stopped that and have started it with the normal conversion. As usual, changing my mind on what I want to do here. So I'm doing it on the called for fabric with the called for colors now. I'm not doing any conversion. And let me see if I can get this one ready to show. And there's really, it's hard to show this one because I don't have a ton done. But the prompt this week on the Monopoly game, I'm just going to show it to you like this. So I went back, restarted the dress. I started in the center. I have enough of the center in. I'm going to start working up to the head so that I can put the face on because that's how I like to work my miras. And the call for fabric, oh, let's see, what is the called for fabric? 32 count French lace linen by Witchout, and that's what I'm stitching it on. And I have that in my Ruth Bader Ginsburg bag that I got from Black Cat Stitchery. The last bag is one I made and was in my shop when my shop was open. My shop is no longer open because honestly I do not have the time at the moment. Maybe someday, but not right now. The next project I stitched on, well, next project I'm going to show you is the Beaver by Cottage Garden Samplings. As you recall, if you've been here for a while, Gail and I have been working on these forever. Gail's got all of hers done. She finished the beaver. I have not yet. I'm stitching this on 40 count Country Mocha with one thread over 2. I should bring him back out and work on him some more. He could be a finish. Sorry, that is my phone. Let me shut that off. And I kept stats on like how many days each of these projects got. I think I'll talk about it today when I get to stats, but I may not do that going forward. If you have a real interest in knowing that much stats, let me know. The next project I worked on since I saw you last was, it's called Mother Duck. And this is on the Kit Aida with the Kit Floss. And I like this because it has 4 little ducks. I have 4 children, and I have been referred to as Mother Duck, both in home and at my current workplace at times. So there you go. And let me show you what I did. I finished the first little duck. Isn't he cute? And I start Mama. I really enjoy working on that. Again, it's Aida, so when you're tired and lighting's not great. And the next one is Cooper by Kathy Barrick. This is also in a bag by Black Cat Stitchery. So was the Mother Ducks. So you see I have a theme. This is Cooper by Kathy Barrick. I am stitching this with my own floss conversion to make it look more like a parrot. Stash dive threads. I am stitching this, I think. I don't think I wrote this down. It's Picture This Plus. I'm trying to figure out how to show it to you best. The light's still washing it out here. The colors are richer than that. But that's where I am there. I wonder if I have a tag in here that says what I'm stitching it on. Hold on. Yes, 36 count Wren by Picture This Plus. The next one I'm going to show is, before I get going on that, let's turn this on because we're going to need this. This is Tree of Hope. I believe that's the name of it. Hold on. Yep, Tree of Hope by Mirabilia. I started this at a Steel City Stitchers Retreat with Tiffany from Black Cat X Stitchery. We split a piece of fabric, and she started something, and I started this. Did I write down? Yeah, this was fun too. So I did a lot of work on that tree. This is fun. They're silks. I like the colors. I really enjoy it. The next one didn't get a ton of work, but it got some. So I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. It is, let's see if I can pull it up here. A Heaven and Earth design. It is Mini Blu-ray. I'm just going to pull up the PDF for you. It's artwork by Leah Roche. Charted by Heaven and Earth Design. And this is a mini. I started this with Tiffany from Black Cat Stitchery 2. Do you see a theme here? And this is where I am. This is 2/110 on 28 count Lugana. Not much to speak of yet, but I enjoy working on it. I enjoy the fact that it's a mini. I have not been working on my large full coverages lately. I'm just not feeling them, but it's okay. Next one is Long Dog Samplers Pandemic. This was released free during the pandemic. I am stitching this on 40 count Heritage by Pictureless Plus with a black silk from Silks for You. And this is where I am. I finished this motif in here and started working over. I am finding myself this year, sorry Zipper, working on fewer projects. Yeah. And I don't know why. I think it just settles me to work on fewer projects. There are definitely more times that I knit than stitch, and that's because of availability, portability. A lot of my knitting can travel with me to work, and so I can knit at lunch, or if the students are taking a long test, when I have to sit there and be quiet. Yeah, so that can travel with me more than stitching can. Peacock Unicorn and a Badger. This is by the Scarlet Letter. I'm stitching this on 40 count Lakeside Linen Attic Lace. One thread over 2, and I think the last time I showed this, I'm not sure if I showed you or not. I had tested out stitching it on the dark fabric that I'm doing Royal Holiday on, to see if I liked it. In the end, I did. It was okay, but I liked the the fineness of the stitching better, so I stayed with my current selection. And so this has gotten a lot of fill-in work. The squirrel, I'm almost at a page finish down here. I'm just going to keep plugging away on it. This sits up by my stitching chair, and when I feel the urge, I put it in the stand and I start stitching on it. One of the others that I have been stitching on recently, and it's up sitting by my stitching chair so that I do pull it out more, is Mushroom and Fern by Chatelaine. This is what it looks like. I don't know if I'm going to have to stand up to show you. This is upside down, so you're going to look at the top is down. I'm going to put this behind. And I've been working in the frame, trying to get this frame completed. I would like to get all of this completed and the frame completed, beads and all. So that's my next benchmark on that. Once I get that done, I will completely unroll it from the frame to show everybody. And yeah, but that's my next benchmark for this. So I have been putting the picture right here. I did it on my next project too, to help inspire me when I'm working on it, to help push through those tedious parts. But I'm still enjoying it a ton. The next one I'm going to show you, the picture's already on. This was my last Monopoly. I landed on, where did I land? Community Chest. And the card that Tina drew said I had to stitch on something that was out of print. So last Sunday I pulled out my Queen of Freedom. I am stitching this on 30 count Constitution linen by Primitive Hair with all the called for threads. And I have actually made quite a bit of progress on her since last Sunday, and I was just stitching on her this morning. I finished all of her skin, completed some things up here, completed this, and I gotten all this done. And then the last 2 mornings I've been working down here. I really am enjoying her, and I'd love to keep her out. However, Royal Holiday is far closer to a finish, and I wonder if I should bring her out. So that'll be a decision I make later today when I sit down to stitch. But she's fun. Thoroughly enjoying her. Enjoy the linen. Enjoy my setup at the stand with her. And I'm able to two-handed stitch. And she's just looking beautiful. So I'm happy with her. My goal is to eventually have Queen of Freedom and Lady of the Flag up on my wall. Queen of Freedom was actually gifted to me by a viewer on my FlossTube channel when I said that I would like both of them up on my wall. And she sent me the pattern, so thank you so very much. Both of those patterns were gifted to me, and that's just one of the special things about this community. I'm totally working on both of them, and would like to eventually get them up on my wall. That being said, that's the end of my cross stitch. I'll make a decision today, probably while I'm editing this FlossTube, as to the next piece, or if I remain on Queen of Freedom to work on. But I will tell you, I've been on Queen of Freedom since Sunday, and so that for me, she's had 5 days. There's been a couple days I have not stitched this week, but she's essentially had 5 days of stitching. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, she's had 5 days of stitching. However, I have her in here as Lady of the Flag, and she's not. She's Queen of Freedom. And I'm not sure this afternoon. It's Valentine's Day. I'm cooking a special dinner for my husband. For my husband and I for tonight. I'm doing some chocolate-covered strawberries. We're doing some steak, some sweet potato. I'm making some Texas Roadhouse rolls and some broccoli to make it kind of a little bit healthy anyway. But yeah, that's the end of my stitching. So if you're leaving me at this point, thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you soon. And if you're hanging around for all the rest of the crazy, boy, do I have some of it for you. I have quite a bit of knitting to show, mainly because I'm trying to get this cut so I can get this off. Hold on. Like I said, the knitting can travel with me, so it is much easier to take places than the stitching. I don't know why I have such a mess here, but I'd like to show you some of my finished socks, but bear with me for a second. I finished some Christmas socks after Christmas, so I did not show them completed on my WIP parade. They were at WIPs, so I want to show you those. I finished my Advent socks, which I'm going to show you. I finished a pair of Grinch footy socks for myself. Finished lots of things, so let's get to it. Let's show you I brought my sock blockers to show you. These have a little bit of dog fur on them. I grabbed them so that I could show you. Yes, we still have our yellow lab, and yes, he's still shedding even though we're in the dead of winter. I thought I'd get a reprieve, but anyway. These are the Christmas Advent socks from the Cozy Knitter. I stayed in the stripe for the heel. I'm not sure why I chose. I think what happened is I started knitting the heel, not thinking that I was going to switch to this color. But then I don't think it turned out bad. I like them. They need to go in the wash. I machine wash my socks, and I dry them in the dryer. I haven't had anything happen with my socks since I started doing that. So I just keep washing and drying the socks. I don't put them on the most vigorous wash cycle, but you know. These are my Grinch footy socks that I finished. These I did a different type of toe. It's a more rounded toe construction. And I'm not sure that I like it. Matter of fact, a couple times I've actually said I may take these, rip these back and put the regular toe in them. But I also think that once they get worn a couple times that they will feel better. But these are the Grinch. This yarn is from 3 by the Sea. It was their Grinch sock set that came out as a mystery set last year, and in 2023, and I missed it. And so I was waiting all of 2024 for it to come out at Christmas time, and then they released it at Christmas time. And it came with this little green mini, and you can see the different toe that I did here. I definitely have a preferred yarn dyer. I think I say this every time, but 3 by the Sea is definitely my preferred yarn. There's lots of great yarns out there, and I'm starting to find myself levitating to others as well. But definitely for sock sets, I definitely like 3 by the Sea. I like their colorings. Matter of fact, I just watched a video today. They have another mystery set coming out. I think it's called Bunny. I'm not buying it because I have quite a bit of sock yarn, and that's not all my sock yarn. So that's just almost all 3 by the Sea. I think there's some Moondrake up there. I'm looking, and I think there's some Legacy Fibers up there. These I have to weave the ends in. These I just finished this week. That's why it's getting caught and everything. But this is Grim Grinning Ghosts. Again by 3 by the Sea. And again, I should say, I use the Vanillic Sock pattern by Kay by the Crazy Sock Lady. I knit these on 9-inch circulars, size 1. I believe that's a 2.25 millimeter. And then I switch over to Magic Loop for the toes. But I used, actually, you're going to see them in my whips, but I have the Hocus Pocus sock set from 3 by the Sea. This purple is actually the mini from there. This is the one that came with Grim Grinning Ghosts, but I like how they look. And I just have to weave in all the ends, and those socks will be ready to go into the wash. So those are my 3 pairs of finished socks. So let's do whips while we're sitting here. So, where do I start? Let's start with the Hocus Pocus sock set, because that has been on the needles probably the longest. Because I decided to do a patterned sock. So this is Hocus Pocus by 3 by the Sea. Let me show you the label. 3 by the Sea Designs. They are on Etsy. This was their Hocus Pocus mystery sock set. It's all kind of scrunched up, but you get the thought, right? Hocus Pocus. This is their Sanibel base 7525 merino wool and nylon. It came with this main cake and the purple mini. And I'm making the Rhinebeck Rumi pattern by Kay by the Crazy Sock Lady, and I have one sock finished. So let me put that on the blocker so you can see it. But these take a little longer because they are pattern socks, so I have to think about this a little bit more. I am by no means an expert sock knitter. So or a knitter in general. Like, I'm still learning, very much on a learning journey with my knitting. So but this is the Rhinebeck Roomy pattern. It's a very easy 4-row repeat, and I'm finding now that as I'm picking up the second sock, which is here, same at 9-inch circular, ChiaoGoo needles, size 1, I believe that's a 2.25 millimeter. Yeah. I used the purple with the pop of color at the top, and then I took the blue from the Grim Grinning Ghost and put it on the heel. I just like that. So I'm going to do the same on the second sock. But again, Rhinebeck Roomies by Kay by the Crazy Sock Lady. It's a paid for pattern. It's an easy 4-row repeat, and I am getting better at it. But I do think I like doing a pattern sock every once in a while. And I have, this is a Progress Keeper by 3 by the Sea Designs. Yeah. So that's that pair. Then my son-in-law asked me for a heavy pair of wool socks. So I've got some DK weight from Cascade Yarns that I got in Missouri when my husband and I took our cross-country trip or Midwest tour a couple of summers ago. This is 220 Superwash Wave by Cascade Yarns. And this is in, it's called Wave. That is the color name. It is 100% superwash wool. I'm doing this set on DPNs. Here it is caked up. It's very pretty, and you can't really tell in here, but it variegates from light to dark. So I've started these. This is sock number 1. Have not started sock number 2 because I only have one set of the DPNs in this size. But these are DK socks. So I'm following Kay the Crazy Sock Lady. You can see the variegation more there. Kay the Crazy Sock Lady has a DK weight sock pattern, vanilla sock, and that's what I'm following. And I'm just on the foot now. So I have those. The other 2 whips that I've been working on, one is a blanket, and it's been being done with my advents. I had 2 yarn advents this last Christmas. I had one from Polka Dot Creek that was elf themed, got an elf bag, and I had one from Faith Fibers. If I think about it, I'll put it here. I may have totally forgotten. But I started the Coziest Memories blanket. Pattern is by Kemper Ray. It is a free pattern. And I've been putting in squares from those 2 advent calendars. So I'm doing 12 across, I think. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 across. And I'm showing you the back side, front side. So I'm working on the second row. Leap of Faith Fibers, that's who it is. And I have a bunch of the minis all caked up, ready to go. I have more here. So what I'm doing is, dropping stitches is what I'm doing. I'm putting each square takes about 8 grams. I'm doing fingering weight held double. So that gives me a nice DK weight. It's very squishy. With size 4 circular ChiaoGoo needles. It gives, and that's because that's what Kay the Crazy Sock Lady was doing, and Lisa from 72 Stitches. I believe she's doing the same. I'm only casting on 40 stitches instead of the recommended in the pattern. And I'm having fun. Typically, I work on that on Sundays. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun blanket. I had another blanket cast on with the Polka Dot Creek Advent Calendar. It's the Homespun House. Molly at the Homespun House. Cozy Comfort Throw. And I've since ripped that back. I am going to do that blanket, but I'm going to make it more of a Magic Knot Ball blanket. I like that idea better. So this is a restart. This is the Ranunculus sweater by Knit Cafe Midori. If you haven't heard about this and you're a knitter, I'm surprised you haven't heard about this. I had initially started knitting this with a Knit Picks tweed yarn in like a forest green color. I messed up somewhere in the pattern, decided I need to rip it back, and the minute I ripped it back that I lost my orientation as to where I was and decided to rip the whole thing out and restart. So the pattern itself, it wasn't a pattern problem. It's a me learning problem is what it was. And it just, I don't know what I did. And I couldn't figure out, I'm not good enough at knitting that when I rip back in pattern, I can figure out where to start, if that makes sense. So I just ripped the whole thing out, kind of put it in timeout in my brain, and decided, okay, so let's figure this out. Well, I had a bunch of this yarn I bought, Knit Pick Stroll Fingering and Sprinkle Heather. I had a whole bunch that I bought. And I decided I really love this color. I don't know if you can get it on camera, but it does variegate between purple, blues. It's really pretty. I don't know if the camera's doing it justice. But I decided to hold it double. So I've been winding it 2 50-gram skeins and winding it up. So I'm holding it double, and I restarted the pattern. It's kind of unfair because I cannot really take it off the needles right now. It's got a few dog fur pieces, but this is the center back and this is the front, and this is where I am. And this is washing it out a little bit. It's a little deeper than that. That's better. But I'm really enjoying it. Quick knit. I did put a lifeline in this time, so those knitters that yelled at me for not doing a lifeline last time, I put in a lifeline right before the raglan increases for the sleeves, so that if I make that mistake again or if I have trouble, I can go back to the lifeline and not have to restart this all over again. But here we are. I was just working out this morning. It is such a nice, easy process knit fix that it's crazy. I could see myself knitting a couple of those probably in different weights, and that's how the pattern's designed. It's designed to be in different weights. You can have a lacier sweater or a heavier, denser sweater, and I could see myself doing a couple more of those. Sorry, I keep knocking the camera. But yeah, that is my knitting whips. I'm just going to touch on the sewing because this is all I have. I've been working on a Christmas Borgello quilt, and I've now got all the panels together, and now I'm engineering the quilt, if that makes sense to you quilters. So that's my sewing segment. And I think I forgot to mention, I also finished a pair of birthday socks for my daughter for her, how old is she? 36. Her 36th birthday. I'm going to put a picture up here. I made her a pair of footies in her favorite colors, and she loves them. So yeah. So shall we do a little bit of haul? It's all yarn because I have enough cross stitch to last me a lifetime. So now I'm hoarding yarn. So let's look at Yarnables. I got January Yarnable. I've since canceled my Yarnable because I have enough yarn. And I had switched my Yarnable over to DK thinking I'll make more DK socks or a hat or something. And I may. But yeah, I need to just scale back and start working on some things that I have here. But this is January Yarnable. It's called Intergalactic. Let me show you the Intergalactic. Very pretty. It came with extras. I don't remember. I think this bag came with it, which I like. It always comes with one of these bags. And I forget what else came with it. Now everything's been spread all over my table, so I have no idea. And then February's is called Cupid's Bow Plush DK. These are both Plush DK 8515 merino nylon. There's that. And this came with this little case. AT and coasters. So that's that. And like I said, I've canceled my Yarnable now, or at least put it on hold just because. Oh, that other Intergalactic came with some bath sprinkles, which I don't really take baths, and they came with note pals, which I need to take these to work and start using them. So that's that. The other thing I received was I had ordered way back the Wicked sock set from 3 by the Sea Designs, so that has come in. This is it. There's 2 50-gram skeins and 2 20s. And this is Wicked. This is no longer in their shop. This was a pre-order. And I've also received, this is why I need to stop buying yarn. They're always so kind when they package. They always include a tea and some light bulb markers, which I think is cool. This is Chocolate Raspberry Truffle, which actually I think I'm going to cake up very soon and start some vanilla socks. And one last acquisition for yarn. So I bought this pattern. I was been waiting for this to come out. Somebody that I watched, I think it's the Sunday Knitting Society, had test knit this pattern for Creabea designed, and it's called the staff. She did the staff and sweater. I was wanting to do the staff and cardigan by Creabea, and I want to make it longer than this, but I want to make this cardigan. I like the texture of it. This is my next project, my next sweater to be cast on after the ranunculus. And in that light, I needed to buy yarn. So I got a whole mess, I think 15 50-gram skeins of Knit Pick Swish DK in Marble Heather. I think that will make a nice proper cardigan that I can wear with lots and lots of things. And I think it'll be a blast to knit, but we'll see. So 15 times 50, how many grams in was that for February? Because we're going to get that soon. Get to my stats. 15 times 50. 750 grams in. All right. Let's talk stats. So for January, I'm only talking January now. We're not going to talk February right now. For January, I stitched on 11 projects in January. I think lots of projects got 5 days each. Some got 1, some got 2, and some got 3. But it looks like I'm steering more towards 5 days on a project. That's why I lean to say that I am leaning more to more days on one project. And I think that's because it's easier that way. If a project's already set up in my stand and ready to stitch, I am more likely to stitch on it. Whereas if I get home from work and I'm tired and I have to dig everything out and get it set up, I'm less likely to stitch on it. So I think that that's been good. I stitched on 11 projects, like I said. I had, I think, 4 days that I did not stitch. But I did something every day, whether it be knit or stitch. Knitting, so knitting grams in January. So the yarn I received in January, I received 240 grams of yarn. My finishes in January, which include the Cozy Memory squares that I finished in January, is 256 grams, 257 grams. So I actually knit up 17 more grams than I received in, which is awesome. Oh, I did not stitch. Okay, so stitching itself, I stitched 24 out of 31 days in January. Knitting, I knit 28 out of 31 days. So not bad. So yeah, I'm happy with those stats. Let me know if you're interested in hearing the stats, because I would be interested in, I'm going to keep them regardless of whether you want to hear them. It's just about whether I talk about them on the floss tube or not. But yeah, I have to start my stats for February because I have gotten 2 yarns in. Actually 3. This one, the February Yarnable, and the sweater quantity. So that will need to go on here as well. But I'm not going to count the sweater as yarn out until it's done. So the squares in the Coziest Memory are easy because each square is 8 grams. So that's kind of easy to count. And we'll see what else I have finished in February. February is a hugely busy month for me as far as work goes. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that or how that's going to roll. But I know that this yarn purchase was the last yarn I'm buying for quite some time. That's enough to get me through another sweater. And I have an idea as far as a third sweater with what I have in stash. So I am quite happy to kind of see what I can do working on a stash. As far as cross stitch goes, as you all know, I have plenty of things kitted up and all ready to go. So if I ache for a new start there, I can do that right out of my stash and not buy anything. So I'm quite happy about that. We were going to, I think Tina and Gail and I were going to do a group floss tube recording, because I know you all like those. We have not been able to. When we had scheduled to do it, I think it was Gail and I were sick and Tina was not feeling well, and we decided not to. And then Tina and I both said we're both going to have to record something when we're feeling better, because we have so much stuff out that it needs to get put away. And so that's why I'm recording today. I'm sorry, it's been a long one. I'm going to do some editing and take some of that out where I got rambling. I'm trying to remember if I'm forgetting anything, but I don't think I am. So I think that I will end this for today. Thank you, as always, for joining and hanging out with me. Sorry this was such a long one, but we had a lot of catching up to do. And I hope to see you soon. Take care. God bless.